And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to day one of the Division III round of the ACHA 2019 National Championships, along with yours truly, Lou Gamble, and I'm joined by my tag team partner, Ryan Jones. And Ryan, we've got a battle of a couple of teams, one that has never really been to the national tournament and one that is a mainstay, Florida Gulf Coast. They know what it's like to get here and advance all the way to the championship game, whereas Fordham, this is all new for them.
Experience comes into play. You look at their record, 23-1-1, and up and down this roster, it is just chock full of talent. You got 17 players boasting 10 or plus points at the top of the list. You have Cohen, that is Seth Cohen. He's got 44 points, 23 goals, or 21 goals, 23 assists. And for Fordham, they are led by Godowski, who's got 67 points on the year. He will be starting today. He is the mainstay on this roster. 38 goals, 29 assists, and Gamby, the captain, 42 points with 22 goals, 20 apples. We'll see if the Fordham Rams can put up a good fight today against this FGCU Eagles team.
Well, it's going to be Michael Kirch in goal for Florida Gulf Coast and his opponent Joe Sponenberg for Fordham. And both excellent goaltenders, as Ryan mentioned, as we're just underway here with Fordham getting control in the Florida Gulf Coast zone. Bringing it out to the blue line, though, will be Connor Black for Florida Gulf Coast. He'll throw it cross ice out to center ice, and going back after it will be Zach Morfigan for Fordham. They bring it down into the Florida Gulf Coast, and 30 seconds in, we get our first icing call, and that'll bring the face-off deep down into the Fordham zone. Fordham will be in their road red jerseys with the white trim, Florida Gulf Coast in their white jerseys with the green and blue trim.
Yeah, the battle of the uniforms is absolutely beautiful today. In my opinion, it's neck and neck, but I do love that like crimson-esque color and the cursive for Fordham. For me, they got the edge.
You know what? I can go along with that. The old-fashioned look, I guess, retro look, if you will. Coming around the boards, Florida Gulf Coast in their own zone will get the puck. Boy, they're one of the quicker teams. As we mentioned, they've been here before. Ryan, they lost a heartbreaker 2 years ago against Calvin in the semifinals. As there's a shot whistled wide of the goal taken by Lundqvist for Florida Gulf Coast. They regroup with the puck out at center ice, but going after it as well for Fordham was one of the defensemen, number 25, Ryan Findelstein, and it's going to be held off, and we'll get a stoppage of play. Just underway here in this opening period, about a minute 12, and we're scoreless.
Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast looking like they're just jumping off of the bench right now. A lot of speed coming from the Eagles. Fordham's trying to match that right now. It's going to be an interesting matchup going forward if Fordham can keep up with the speed of the Eagles.
Coming up over the line with the puck for Gulf Coast is Veralt. Veralt plays it over in the near corner. They're going to chop at it over there and going behind the Fordham goal. 21 minute 25 into this opening period again. Both teams scoreless, just underway. Glad you could join us here on the ACHA Broadcast Network, day one of the tournament. Coming up over the line, Connor Burke over the right side. He throws one off the goal, rather. It's going to deflect in behind the Gulf Coast goal, and it's going to be brought around by the defenseman for Florida Gulf Coast. Good play to hold it in, and a big hit over on the near side. They're going to play it in behind the goal. Bounced off the puck was Pupula for Florida Gulf Coast. They played over on the right side, still chopping away at it. Big hit laid that time by number 5 for Fordham as they played in around the goal. It's going to be played and held in at the blue line. And we get no whistle. We just get to play continuing, rather, as they play the puck in behind the Florida Gulf Coast goal.
Good forecheck here by Fordham, keeping this puck in the Gulf Coast zone, not allowing him to change as they look to break out now.
Puck played out to center ice where it's going to be handled up on top by Zach Morfigan. He plays it off over the line to Connor Davis. Davis' shot blocked before it got to the goal. Gulf Coast will come up with a rebound and play it out to center ice. They're going to deflect it back into the Gulf Coast goal where Kirch will play it around the goal. He'll just hand it off to one of his defensemen, Diaz. Now the outlet, as they look to clear the zone, they finally have a good cross-ice pass. Good patience as Diaz gets back. He'll roll it down around the corner, down deep in the Fordham zone, where the Lions will try to make a play on it. They dig at it over in the corner, or check that, the Rams rather. They played in behind the goal, played over there by Connor Davis, and back out to center ice, and Gulf Coast will regroup with the puck. Puck played in the neutral zone, going after it is Malcolm, the center for Florida Gulf Coast, and he gets kissed into the boards for his efforts as they played in behind the goal. Fordham comes up with it. 3 minutes left, or a little over 3 minutes gone in this opening period of a scoreless tie. Here's a giveaway coming in on goal is Tremblay. Tremblay with a shot. And Spoonenberg, who I believe, Ryan, is one of the key players on this Fordham team, makes a shoulder save.
Yeah, Spoonenberg coming into the game with a 19-4 record, boasting a 9.07 or a .907, save percentage. A good save there. A tough turnover, and this Eagles team is going to make you pay if you turn it over in your own defensive end.
The face-off will be to the right of Spoonenberg. Taking the face-off for Gulf Coast will be Cody Tremblay. But Fordham comes up with it. They're going to outlet it out to center ice. Going deep down in the corner will be Maxim Denome, but we're going to get an icing call coming up, and that'll bring the face-off down in the Fordham end.
Yeah, I like that breakout play right there. It's a good idea. Pass just outside of the stretched out stick of Godowski, so we'll reset. But it's a good look for Fordham being able to win that defensive zone draw and break out immediately.
Mike Gamby will be in on the face-off for Fordham. Again, as Ryan mentioned, 53 points on the year for him. Face-off, though, controlled by Florida Gulf Coast with the puck up on top with a shot that sails wide. Spencer Bell. They played in behind the Fordham goal. Pressure now being applied by the Florida Gulf Coast team as they go towards the net. Played over on the right side. Gulf Coast comes up with a rebound. They play it over on the far side around the boards. Going after it will be Seth Cohen. Cohen has it in behind the goal. He's being hounded back there by Sean Johnson. They dig at it over just outside the goal. Now Gulf Coast has it over on the right side. They're going to play it over on the near corner now. Plays over on the cross side with a shot. Whistled wide of the goal. Taken again by Seth Cohen. They're going to roll it around the boards. Good play to hold it in, though, by Florida Gulf Coast Blake Hartman. They still chop at it. Coming in on goal with an opportunity with a shot. And he scores! Kyle Horvath. A one-timer, top shelf, and just like that, Ryan, we've got a 1-0 lead for Florida Gulf Coast.
Wow, what an absolute beauty of a goal. And look at the Eagles flying through the handshake line. A fantastic setup, and we're not even 5 minutes into the game, and we're not even done with day one. We might have the goal of the D3 tournament so far. An absolute beautiful finish. And the Eagles take the early lead. Love how the Eagles they were able to set up their offense, set up a nice cycle there, and just work it right to the slot, and just an amazing goal.
Boy, I just love Ryan. I just love their patience when they with the passing. You mentioned it. You know, they remind me a lot of Northeastern out of the D2 level, where they're patient with their play in the opposing team's zone, and it proved to be fortuitous for them. As the time of the goal, 4 minutes and 16 seconds for Horvath, and he's got a 1-0 lead for his Eagles. Here comes Fordham quickly up over the line, 3-on-2 the other way. Drop pass, but a fan on the shot as it goes over in the far corner. They're going to play it around the boards, and they're going to play it now. Does Florida Gulf Coast, the Eagles, Pupala will play it, and he's just going to skate it out of the zone as he's met by Blake, or check that, he's met in the back end, and it's going to be played now down in the Fordham zone. 1-0 Gulf Coast. The Eagles' goal again scored by Horvath at 4:16. As 3-1 the shots on goal early in this game, but again the Eagles on top 1-0. And they're going to wave off the icing, so they're going to continue play as the Eagles will get it around the zone. Here's a steal coming in on goal with a shot. Whistled wide of the goal, taken that time by Connor Davis. Connor with 32 points on the year. Here comes Florida Gulf Coast the other way. There's another play, kind of a misplay on a drop pass by Gulf Coast, but they're able to regroup, and they have it now out at center ice. Veralt has it up over the line. He skates it over in the far corner. Bounced off the puck that time by Sean Johnson, but still deep in the Fordham end. 14:20 to go. There's a centering play deflected, played over in the far corner again, and Fordham will come up with it as they try to skate it out of the zone, trying to get calmed down after giving up that early goal. Fordham dumps it into the Florida State zone where it's played in the neutral zone area. And a good pass. Here comes Florida Gulf Coast. That's Steinmetz up over the line. Steinmetz tried to do a nifty dipsy-do move, but a good defensive play by Johnson. But an equal better play at first to be held in by Fordham, and the Rams will make a line change.
Yeah, like the Rams taking the body there, not letting anybody kind of cut to the middle after that first goal, saying, you know, if you're gonna go hard to the net, you're gonna pay for it.
Godowski tried to make a play on it for Fordham. It's still deep in the Fordham zone. Florida Gulf Coast showing a little bit of muscle, getting that opening goal. We're going to get a whistle and a stoppage of play. 13:29 to go here in this opening period. 1-0 Gulf Coast early in its opening day of pool play in Division III.
Yeah, the speed and intensity of this game seems a little bit unmatched. I think maybe some of the teams that were playing earlier were a little bit slow to get up for their games, but these teams have had the chance to wake up. They got their coffee and they got their lunch, and these guys are ready to rock and roll. And loving the pace of play that we're seeing right now.
Oh, Ryan, that is a perfect point there, because those other couple of games, real sluggish starts in the opening period or two, especially in the game that I did with Fairfield and Tampa. It looked like they were in quicksand in that opening period. That was an overtime win for Fairfield on a beautiful play as the winning goal was scored while the guy was being hauled down coming in for the goal for Fairfield. And Ryan, one of the things that I'm looking for in this tournament with the East Coast teams, they've struggled lately getting out of the box as far as, you know, a win or two, and they've stumbled on opening day. The Southern and the Central schools, or North schools, have been able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, throughout the entire weekend at all levels, men's D1, men's D2, and looking forward to this D3 tournament and the women's tournament, the biggest key for a lot of teams is going to be how mentally tough they are. And how physically tough they are, because when you're not being mentally tough, that's when you get roughing penalties, you get retaliations. When you're not physically tough, that's when you stop moving your feet, you get trips, you get holds. So there's a big key is that all of these teams are very talented and pretty evenly matched 5-on-5, but when you go down to player, that's where the stars shine.
Here comes Horvath up over the line, but a good play on defense for Fordham to cut off a potential break over on the right side. Fordham comes up with the puck deep in their own zone. 12:20 to go in this opening period of a 1-0 hockey game. Gulf Coast on top. Puck played over on the far side. Going to be picked up over there. Stolen away again, though, by Nappy for Gulf Coast. They hold it in momentarily. There's a nice move, catching Fordham napping a little bit, and played over on the far side by Hartman. Hartman will skate it in the left face-off circle, setting it up right now. He's going to backtrack with the puck, just dumps it in the corner. Going after it is Philbin. Philbin has it in behind the goal. Calling for it on top is Hartman. Hartman skates with it, throws it towards the net. It's blocked in traffic, and there's going to be a rebound, and finally going to be played by Fordham, and that being led by Godowski.
Yeah, I like the shot choice from Hartman there. A lot of bodies in front looking for a tip or redirection. Just couldn't fight through all of the bodies in front.
Veralt has it. He plays it down into the Fordham zone over on the far side, rather. They come up with it at the blue line. They're going to fight for it right there at the point and held on to at the blue line. They now dig away at it. It's finally played out to center ice and into the neutral zone area. Picking it up was Florida Gulf Coast. Definitely, in my mind, have had the play so far in this game in the opening 9 minutes as they take it down into the Fordham zone, played in behind the goal. Going after it was Zach Morfigan. He's got 11 points on the year. Puck played out to the blue line. Good play to hold it in, though, by the Eagles. Ooh, a nifty move coming in on goal with a shot. Deflected before actually he got it off. Coming in was Connor Black. His stick got lifted, it looked like, coming up the other way, going in towards the goal. And over on the right side, centering play, but an equally good play to clear it, but not out for Florida Gulf Coast. And now it's going to be lifted up to center ice and back in the Fordham zone with just about 10.5 minutes left to go in this opening period. Coming up over the line is Jack Flanagan for Fordham. His centering play deflected, and here comes Fordham. Taking the play that time was Pappas. They played in behind the Gulf Coast goal. Or check that, Sean Blaney making the play for Fordham. I beg your pardon, period. Here they come up over the line. Matruska plays it wide of the goal. Good play to hold it in with the hustle of the side to go here in this opening period. With a shot for DePiri. Deflected wide of the goal. He had an opportunity, and it's going to be played out to center ice. They played at the blue line now on the Fordham end. Backtracking with the puck is the Godowski for Fordham. Throws it down to the opposing blue line where it's picked up. Here's a potential giveaway. Hopped up over the stick, but a drop pass coming in was Maxim Denome with a play, and it's going to go all the way down, finally down into the Fordham zone with 8:50 to go. Still a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, good shot there. It just takes an unfortunate rim around the boards and basically clears Fordham out of their own end instead of being able to set up a good attack. Should be offside, delayed offside.
Here we go as Fordham had to touch up, so the possession went to Gulf Coast, playing it out at center ice. With the puck is David Cross, one of the assistant captains.
He got too many.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, unfortunate mistake there by Gulf Coast. It was number 7, David Cross, sending it back to the D-man to regroup, but number 25 and just Diaz, the captain, jumped on. I think we're going to send it to break here. We'll cover the penalty after that.
We'll be right back. 1-0 Gulf Coast here on the ACHA Broadcast Network.
The 2019 Ace Howie's Hockey Tape, the official tape provider of the ACHA and the City of Frisco.
And welcome back to the ACHA Broadcast Network as we've got 8:29 to go here in this opening period. Florida Gulf Coast on top 1-0 with yours truly, Lou Gamlin, along with my tag team partner Ryan Jones. And Ryan, we're going to see our first power play of the afternoon.
Yeah, we're going to see first power play, and there are too many men on the ice. It was Diaz who was sending the puck back, it was Cross who was sending the puck back, intended for Diaz. And Florida was caught in the middle of a line change. Diaz was supposed to be getting off and then saw the puck coming towards him, thinks twice, jumps back on, too many men. And now Florida, this is a huge chance against a really, really, really talented Eagles team. They're going to need to be effective on special teams today if they expect to get out of here with the W.
So Spencer Bell will serve the bench minor for too many men on the ice. The play's over on the left side. Fordham sets it up on the play-out or the face-off circle. They try to get it towards the goal. It's kicked away over on the far side. There's a play right out in front with a shot. He scored! One-timer that time for Fordham, and just like that, we've got a 1-1 tie. Time of the goal, 11 minutes and 49 seconds.
Right on cue, only needing 17 seconds into the power play. Austin O'Malley gets the Rams on the board. A beautiful setup, a breakdown on defense, and the penalty kill leaves him wide open in the slot. And it's really tough to miss that shot when you are that wide open with that much time, and he just buries the goal.
1-1 tie, so we'll see how Florida Gulf Coast can react to that. Puck played out at center ice. They're going to chop away at it right in front of us in the neutral zone. Finally trying to dig after it was Cohen. He drops it back off to Spencer Bell. Bell dumps it around in the corner, going to be played in behind the Fordham goal. 1-1 our score here with 7:40 left to go in this opening period. Glad you could join us. Connor Burke has it up over the line. They're going to play it in the Gulf Coast zone, so all of a sudden the Rams have a little extra pep in their step with that tying goal.
Yeah, I mean, it just gets you so jazzed up when you get score on the power play. And now Florida's chance to go on the power play. We're going to get a hooking call against Fordham. It was number 19, that's Mason Lundquist, who was sashaying into the zone and was pulled down illegally. And now Florida Gulf Coast, this is a huge chance to answer as it maybe kind of switches momentum, right? The Rams go up, and then you make a mistake like that, you get beat, and now Florida has a chance to try to score on this PP.
Boy, that was a beautiful move by Mason Lundquist. He just sashayed, as you mentioned, right into the crease area, and really there was not a whole lot else that Zach Morfigan could do but to haul him down, because it was going to be point blank and then some. Power play now for Florida Gulf Coast. Again, this will be their first one. 7:10 to go here in this opening period. Puck played out at the point, now over on the right side. Florida Gulf Coast with a shot, and it's going to be kicked away by Spoonenberg. They play it back out to the point. There's one thrown towards the net. That one shouldered away by Spoonenberg over on the near side. 6:55 to go in the opening period, a 1-1 tie. They're going to dig at it over in the near corner. Gulf Coast looking to set it up. One shot on goal on the power play. That one's going to be cleared the length of the ice, right into the wickets of Michael Kirch, and we've got a 1-1 tie. 1:20 to go in the power play, 6:39 to go here in this opening period. Gulf Coast now will regroup with the puck. They're just going to set that next rush up as they get a second power play unit out. Again, both teams opening game in pool play. Oh, there's a giveaway shorthanded coming up over the line with a shot up over the top of the goal. Careless play that time as John Murray checked that That was, it was Murray that had the shot that whistled up over the top of the goal.
Yeah, really tough turnover there as it leads to the shot, comes all the way back down. And then once again, Fordham with the puck now. That's at least 30 seconds of power play time that they lost from a bad turnover, just trying to stretch out the pass. And another good clear here by the Rams. Just on this breakout, now that they're going to set up behind the net, let's see a little bit more movement about the Eagles during this breakout. Give your guys a little bit more options.
Veralt will take it out, and then another hustle play coming up with a turnover again is Burke. He comes in with a backhand, and it's going to be deflected off the shoulder of Kirch. He's going to be in behind the goal as they dig away at it in their own end. You'd never know it was a power play right now for Florida Gulf Coast as one great penalty kill here for the Fordham Rams.
You certainly wouldn't. What a workhorse Connor Burke is on this penalty kill, the one-man wrecking machine.
Coming up over the line is David Cross. He plays it over on the left side. He's going to cut a center one across the goal mouth, and it's going to go all the way over to the other side where it's played by Steinmetz. They play it over on the near corner. Again, a 1-1 tie. Held in at the point. There's a shot and traffic kicked away by a defender. That would be Mike Gamby. Now they played in behind the Fordham goal. Traffic now being applied by Gulf Coast, but Fordham comes up with it. O'Malley will get the puck out of the zone, and he'll play it out to center ice. He's just going to roll it down in the zone for a line change for the Rams. 4:45 to go in this opening period. We've got a 1-1 tie as they dig it out in the neutral zone area. Another lazy pass coming up with it is Anthony DePerry. There's one kicked away by Kirch. It's loose right out at the doorstep, and they're going to play it around the goal. And finally coming up with it is Horvath. Horvath, nice long cross-ice pass weaving through a couple of players over to Lundqvist, but it's all the way down to the far end and met there by one of the Rams. But the Lions now, or the Rams will try to make it. The Eagles still trying to set up the offense. Eagles looking a little disheveled after that goal.
Yeah, I think that the Eagles maybe kind of feel a little bit punched in the mouth by this Rams team. That power play goal seemed to spark a lot of life into Fordham, and I think that the number one seed, Florida Gulf Coast, I don't think that they were expecting to be in a up and down kind of sprint match right now against this Rams team. You know, the Rams, you look at that, they're coming in as the 4 seed. Maybe you overestimate them. We've seen that a lot in the tournament, especially on these first days, is that these the higher seeds kind of come out a little bit slower, and the underdogs come out looking to make headlines.
Well, one of the things that I talked with Rich Gilberti about, the head coach of Fordham, a couple of times, is he said, we have deceiving speed. And I think it's showing its face right now, isn't it?
It's certainly on display right now. They're step for step with this Eagles team.
And hauled down is going to be one of the players from Fordham. And we're going to get another power play coming up for for the Rams. As going to the box, it looks like it's going to be, well, I thought it was Horvath, but we are going to get a power play coming up for Fordham.
Yeah, it was Stansbury for Fordham, who was just kind of outworking Blake Hartman, who's going to be the one to sit in the sin bin for 2 minutes. And with just 3:45 left, it would be absolutely huge if the Rams could get another power play goal and go into the intermission leading 2-1.
Fordham now has the puck. There's a shot right at the doorstep. Rebound. Oh, they chop away at it, and it's going to be dug away finally by the Eagles, but it's held in by Fordham. There's a centering play. Went all the way to the near side. Coming up with that loose puck is Mike Gamby. Gamby has it with a little give and go. They tried to center it in the middle. It's still loose. Right out in front.
It's
still
loose.
Chopping at it still. And Gulf Coast is able to clear, but a flurry of shots right in front of the goaltender Kutch. And we've got I'll tell you, 8-6 advantage in shots now for the Rams. They come up over the line with the shot. Coming in on goal with an odd-angled shot. Elbowed off and hung on to by Fordham. They play it out on top. They've got it there on the point, playing over on the right side, right inside. Nice pass. And there's a rebound with a shot gloved off by Kutch with authority.
Wow.
Oh, boy. 2:56 to go. We got a 1-1 tie. This has been great action in this opening period.
And the reason why we have a 1-1 tie right now is Michael Kirch with the windmill save right there. Making a flurry of saves. Probably had 4 so far just on this power play alone. Right there at the end, though, I would have liked to see a shot before they move the puck into the slot. I'm not quite sure the player who was moving in along that red line. Just got to get a shot on net there instead of opting for a pass to the slot.
It may have been Hatch with one too many passes that time for Fordham. But anyways, the puck is going to be played back into the Fordham zone as they look to regroup the power play. Under a minute to go in the power play. 2:38 to go in this opening period. 1-for-1 was Fordham so far with the extra man. Now they're going to throw it back down into the Fordham goal as it's going to be played back in their own zone. Is going after it is Maxim Denome. He outlets it back, and it's a little give and go as he brings it out into the neutral zone. He's going to skate it up over the line, bring it over to O'Malley. O'Malley gets his pocket picked, and it's going to be dropped back to Denome. And Florida Gulf Coast is just going to throw it the length of the ice where it's met by Sponenberg around the goal, and it's going to be played out to center ice. Skating after it was Connor Davis for Fordham, but he's met at the blue line on the defensive end by Spencer Bell. 15 seconds left in the power play. 1:55 left to go in this opening period of a 1-1 tie. They're chopping at it over in the far corner now. That'll just about expire the power play for the Rams. They've gotten 2 shots on goal on this power play. There's one right out in front. It's loose. Oh, and Kirch has to gobble it up as we've now got 1:40 left in this opening period. And Ryan, if you ask me, it's been a tale of 2 halves of this opening period. Fordham withstood the early onslaught, and boy, they've really taken it to Gulf Coast.
Yeah, and I definitely think we touched on it right in the beginning there, Lou. Power plays are so key. The special teams play is so key. Florida Gulf Coast pretty lucky to get out of that power play or penalty kill without a goal, thanks to the great play of their goaltender.
There's a deflection. It comes out to the neutral zone. Coming up with the loose puck is going to be Tremblay. Tremblay brings it up over the line on the right side with a shot. Long pad save by Spoonenberg. Held in at the blue line. They're going to dig away at it over on the right side. Now played out to center ice. Coming up with the puck is going to be Fordham. That's Denome. Comes up over the line. His pocket is picked. And coming up with it is going to be Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald with a cross-ice pass to Tremblay. He'll just roll it around the boards over on the near side. Going to go all the way down in the far end, but Fordham will come up with it. They're going to skate it in the neutral zone. Bouncing it off the boards. Now playing it over on the far side. Big hit that time on Denome. Florida Gulf Coast rather will try to make the play on it, but instead Fordham will come around with the puck. We're down under a minute to go. 10-7. Fordham with a shots on goal advantage. Puck center, a deflection. It was going to be centered, but now it's going to be deflected out into the neutral zone with 45 seconds left in the period. Gulf Coast will backtrack with the puck as they look to get one more, maybe a couple more rushes, but good defensive pressure by the Rams to keep the play in the Florida Gulf Coast end. Gulf Coast has it out at center ice, trying to make a play on it is Lundqvist. He throws it down the length of the ice. They're going to wave off the icing. 25 seconds left in the period. They play it out in the neutral zone. Now here come the Rams. Hatch comes up over the line. Nifty move to come in on goal. There's a shot right into the bread basket. An easy save for Hatch. But I'll tell you what, that was a beautiful move that time for Hatch on the goaltender, Kirch.
Yeah, it was a nice move there, but just kind of a tough angle. You can't really come all the way across and get Kirch moving left to right. Kirch doing a nice job just staying tight to the post, not giving him anything to shoot at.
11-7, the shots on goal advantage in favor of Fordham here in the first 19 minutes and 45 seconds. Face-off controlled by the Eagles as they throw it in behind their own goal. They're going to try to outlet it for one last rush, but Fordham again right there to throw it back in the zone. They have to touch up on side. 5 seconds left, and it looks like this will probably be it for the opening period, and it will be by the time somebody touches that puck. 20 minutes into the books here on day one of the ACHA Division III National Championships, and I think we got a little more than we bargained for after 20 minutes of play, Ryan.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. Maybe the speed of the first couple of games, teams kind of coming out sleepwalking. Well, not these two teams. The Rams and Eagles came ready to play today. The Rams stride for stride with the Eagles so far. There was the FGCU getting on the board early, but Fordham answering with the penalty, the power play goal. And if I'm looking forward into this next period, I think that Florida Gulf Coast really needs to stay more disciplined because it looks like Fordham, flurry of chances on that second power play opportunity. So I think it's going to be really important that the Eagles stay out of the sin bin in the second period.
It was Austin O'Malley at 11:49 on the power play to tie it up for Fordham after Kyle Horvath got things going at 4:16 with a beautiful shot of his own. 1-1 tie after 20 minutes of play. We'll be back in about 12 or 13 minutes with the second period of this exciting hockey game. You're watching the Division III ACHA National Championships on the ACHA Broadcast Network.
ready. You're not ready. Let's go!
Hockey heads are special, which is why we protect them with a helmet designed, built, and tested to endure real-world hockey impacts.
Skating was hard at first. Sometimes I fell, but I always got back up. Now when I'm skating, I feel like a rocket, or maybe a race car. Something really fast. It's my second favorite feeling. Scoring is my favorite. I think I like it even more than birthday cake.
Come on! You know the answer. You studied for this. Come on. Timmy! Come on, Timmy. You got this, son. Pencil to paper. Focus. Come on, Timmy. Focus. Focus. Take the puck. There you go. Skate! Skate! Pass it! You call that a pass? What are you doing? You missed the puck! Come on! This guy's not ready. You're not ready. Let's go!
Hockey heads are special, which is why we protect them with a helmet designed, built, and tested to endure real-world hockey impacts.
Skating was hard at first. Sometimes I fell, but I always got back up. Now when I'm skating, I feel like a rocket, or maybe a race car. Something really fast. It's my second favorite feeling. Scoring is my favorite. I think I like it even more than birthday cake.
Come on! You know the answer. You studied for this. Come on. Timmy! Come on, Timmy. You got this, son. Pencil to paper. Focus. Come on, Timmy. Focus. Focus. Take the puck. There you go. Skate! Skate! Pass it! You call that a pass? What are you doing? You missed the puck! Come on! not ready. They're not ready. Let's go!
Hockey heads are special, which is why we protect them with a helmet designed, built, and tested to endure real-world hockey impacts.
Skating was hard at first. Sometimes I fell, but I always got back up. Now when I'm skating, I feel like a rocket, or maybe a race car. Something really fast. It's my second favorite feeling. Scoring is my favorite. I think I like it even more than birthday cake.
Come on! You know the answer. You studied for this. Come on. Timmy! Come on, Timmy. You got this, son. Pencil to paper. Focus. Come on, Timmy. Focus. Focus. Take the puck. There you go. Skate! Skate! Pass it! You call that a pass? What are you doing? You missed the puck! Come on! Guy's not ready. You're not ready. Let's go!
Hockey heads are special, which is why we protect them with a helmet designed, built, and tested to endure real-world hockey impacts.
Skating was hard at first. Sometimes I fell, but I always got back up. Now when I'm skating, I feel like a rocket, or maybe a race car. Something really fast. It's my second favorite feeling. Scoring is my favorite. I think I like it even more than birthday cake.
Come on! You know the answer. You studied for this. Come on. Timmy! Come on, Timmy. You got this, son. Pencil to paper. Focus. Come on, Timmy. Focus. Focus. Take the puck. There you go. Skate! Skate! Pass it! You call that a pass? What are you doing? You missed the puck! Come on! ready. You're not ready! Let's go!
Hockey heads are special, which is why we protect them with a helmet designed, built, and tested to endure real-world hockey impacts.
And welcome back to the ACHA Broadcast Network. 20 minutes into the books, we've got a 1-1 tie here between Florida Gulf Coast and the Fordham Rams. Good afternoon again, everybody. Yours truly, Lou Gamlin, along with my tag team partner, Ryan Jones. And Ryan, you know, it's a tale of two halves of a period, I guess you could say, in this game. And if it's just me, I think we talked about this off air. I think Florida Gulf Coast they got taken a little bit by surprise after the media timeout, and it took them all half of the period to recover.
Yeah, I think that's been a pretty big storyline throughout the entire tournament so far. Is at that 10-minute mark, we take a media timeout. That is what that is not something these teams are used to, because that's not typically done by ACHA regulations. It's only for this tournament time. And a lot of teams have been able to kind of turn it on right after that media timeout. So Florida Gulf Coast comes out quickly. They get a goal within the first 5 minutes. But then penalty trouble happens, and Fordham is able to notch the score at 1 after the media timeout. I do think that FGCU was a little bit surprised with the speed of the Rams and their tenacity. Coming in as a 4 seed, I think it's easy to overlook them if you haven't seen this Fordham team on film or in person.
Over on the other rink going on right now, it started about a half hour before us, another 1-4 matchup, and that's Farmingdale State College against Central Florida. And Farmingdale State, they have been here 4 straight years as well. They're up to 7-1 lead already, flexing their muscle over there. That could get ugly.
Pretty glad that we're over here calling a much closer game so far. And, you know, who knows, with the way that both teams have played so far, we might see one start to run away with it. But I doubt it. I think we got a pretty good contest here.
And they're going to throw the puck in behind the Florida Gulf Coast goal. Here's 22 seconds into this one. 11-7. Shots on goal advantage in favor of Fordham. And I think they got 10 of those in the last, probably right after the media timeout, if not darn close. Puck played in the Fordham zone. They take it out of the zone. Going after the puck is Gamby. He throws it down into the Florida Gulf Coast end as they look to get a couple of changes. Florida Gulf Coast as well will make some changes as they play the puck. There's one thrown right at Kirk, and he hangs on. So Fordham keeping the pressure on here in the early going of this second period, still with a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, both teams so far, you got to mitigate turnovers in your own offensive zone. We've seen that kind of a lot of this D3 level today. Teams just being careless with the puck, not keeping their heads up and looking where they're passing, and that can lead to an opportunity for your opposing side.
There were 2 power plays for Fordham in the opening period. They were 1 for 2. Quickly up over the line the other way was Kyle Horvath. He's got the goal centering play, but nobody home in traffic for Florida Gulf Coast. They got the puck. They still play to hold it in. They do, but here come the Rams with it. Skating it up out of the zone was Connor Burke. He's met at center ice. They still fight for the puck right at the center ice line, and Gulf Coast will just throw it towards the goal, easily gloved off by Spanenberg, as it's going to be deflected right towards us as we get a stoppage of play with 1:18 to go in the second period. Still a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, we'll see how this period plays out. Couple of stoppages so far in just over a minute here. We'll see if we can maybe go one or should I say like 2-3 minutes of a little bit of up and down play. I think that would favor the Eagles here. I want to see Fordham hopefully set up in their offensive sets, start getting a cycle and establish some rhythm on offense, because if they get in a track meet with FGCU, I don't think that they're going to handle that very well.
I tend to 100% agree with you there, Ryan, as the puck is played over to the left of the goaltender, Spanenberg. It's in behind the goal, chasing after it is Nappy. There's one right on in front. Ooh, off the top of the goal. Looked for a moment like it went in top shelf, but here comes Fordham. Skating it up out of the zone was Connor Burke. Plays it over in the far corner, throws it around the boards, and it's going to be played in the Florida Gulf Coast zone. We're about 2 minutes gone in this opening period, second period rather. Florida Gulf Coast tried to clear the zone, but they didn't, taking the puck. Centering play right out in front. Poke checked away that time by the goaltender Crutch. 12-8, shots on goal in favor of Fordham. Coming up over the line with it was Philbin. Philbin plays it in the slot area, but the Rams able to stuff it, and they control the puck now in the neutral zone. They're going to bring it up. D'Agostino over the line. He drops it, but nobody home. Puck still played right in front of the ACHA logo. Now it's out to center ice, and it's going to be played by the Eagles. Coming up over the line with it is Steinmetz. He's met over in the near corner by Zach Moffergan. They played in behind the goal, now played over on the right side. Fordham comes up with it. We're going to get a 3-on-3 for a moment, but now it's going to be met by Florida Gulf Coast right at their own blue line, and they play it out to center ice. Dumping it off the boards into the corner is Steinmetz. He throws it in behind the goal, but again, Fordham right there. We're almost 3 minutes gone in this second period, still a 1-1 tie.
Fordham's doing a nice job on their breakout, but they got to get pucks deep.
Back in his own zone is Florida Gulf Coast. That's Pupola. He plays it, and it's still held in. Coming up over the line with the puck,
wow.
Brenner, and we get a whistle and a stoppage of play.
We had one linesman.
A Florida Gulf Coast zone chasing after it for the Eagles is going to be Elijah Lee. It's played out at the blue line. Now it's outletted to center ice. Catching up to the puck is Cohen. Cohen throws one wide of the goal, rolls all the way around to the boards. Lee tries to go after it, but here come the Rams. 2-on-3, though. Florida Gulf Coast with numbers on defense. They throw it in behind the goal as it's going to be played by Kirch. He throws it around the boards, plays it over on the right side. Now here comes the center ice, but stolen away again by Fordham, showing some wheels. Deep in their own zone is Gamby. All right, check that in the Florida zone is Gamby, but it's going to be played in the Florida Gulf Coast zone, where it's going to be then outletted to center ice. The Rams have it in the neutral zone. They're just going to dump it back down in the Florida Gulf Coast zone. Played that time by Flanagan down there. There's a centering play, but a good play right at the last second, but again stolen away. So the Rams still keeping the heat on Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, Rams looking good here.
Puck played over on the left side. Centering play. Couple of players into the slot area for Fordham as they look to try to clog it to get a shot in traffic. Puck played in the left face-off circle in behind the goal. Played over on the right side. Now here comes Florida Gulf Coast. 2-on-2 the other way. Now coming up over the line. Drop pass. There's a shot. Long rebound. That one taken that time by Tremblay. Still played over on the far side. There's a drive. Kicked away again by Spanenberg. Held in at the point by Gulf Coast. They throw it in the corner. Now it's going to be all the way around the boards. They're going to dig at it over on the far corner. They chop away at it 2-on-2. Trying to gain possession as we're coming up on 5 minutes left to go in the second period. Big hit over on the left side. There's a one-timer. Long rebound right out in front, and they're going to keep it in the zone. And we're going to get a penalty call coming up as Lundqvist was hauled down. And this will be the second power play opportunity for the Eagles.
Wow, what? Well, first of all, what a big hit there. It was Kyle Horvath, and he put Nick Godowski right on his backside. Just a huge hit there, and then a nice blocker save by Spanenberg. And now Spanenberg going to have to stand tall in net as they're facing this Florida Gulf Coast power play for the second time this afternoon.
Matruska will take the face-off for Florida Gulf Coast as he won it. It's held out at the point, played up at the blue line now. There's a one-timer deflected high off the glass. Rebound, they try to center it, and it's deflected out of play. Good blast that time by, again, Connor Black, and the puck is going to be held deep in the Fordham end. The face-off will be to the left of Spanenberg.
Yeah, right off the face-off, a nice play by Alfonso Diaz, going down on hands and knees to keep that puck in the net or in the zone. Goes D to D, and the Eagles get a quick shot.
There's one played in the slot area up over the top of the goal. Rebound controlled again by the Eagles. They play a little give and go on the right side. Now back out on top with it is Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald throws it towards the net, but it's blocked, and it's going to be deflected out to center ice and played back now in the neutral zone area. But Florida Gulf Coast will try to regroup with the puck. Going after it is Philbin. He'll skate it in behind his own goal. He's hounded by one of the defenders for Fordham. There's a giveaway, trying to make a shot on it. One handing it over in the far zone is O'Malley, as he and Hatch were really facing or giving Florida Gulf Coast a little bit of static there.
Yeah, nice forecheck here. I do think that Mazur Fordham got to stick a little bit up high back there. And could be a 5-on-3 opportunity, but now Florida entering the zone, able to set up their power play.
Puck over on the far side. Indeed, they're setting it up. Quarterbacking it over on the right side is Cohen. He throws it over in the far corner, back out on top of the blue line. Looking cross ice for Diaz. Diaz with a blast. Rebound right into the bread basket of Spanenberg. And now Gulf Coast hammering him on the power play. I believe that is 4 shots on this latest power play for the Eagles. Now let's make it 5. 14-12 now, and shots on goal with our 1-1 tie.
Yeah, Diaz with an absolute blast from the point. I believe it got redirected off of a foot, but right into the cursive lettering of Spanenberg, just in good position. He's a big goalie. He's standing at, let's see, what does it say here? Spanenberg, he is 6'3". I mean that is, he just looks huge in net there. He just kind of engulfs the entire thing. So nice shot by Spanenberg, staying tall.
Kind of looks like Vasilevsky out there in between the pipes. There's a shot deflected away over on the right side. Cross ice pass quite strong, but it's going to be right over on the right side. Florida Gulf Coast trying to make a play on it, but a good play by Fordham to come up with the loose puck. They're going to skate it out of the zone and up off the safety netting as Denome threw it up. So we got 16 seconds left in the power play. 13-17 to go in the second period. We're still at a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate break for Fordham. Number 11, Gadowski, firing that up into the safety netting behind the net. And you just got to keep that puck on ice. There's really no need to elevate that puck, because instead of that being a dump down in the corner, wasting some time, you get a neutral zone face-off. But looks like it doesn't matter as the puck goes all the way down 200 feet away from the Fordham goal.
Nice play by Fordham to get the puck down there. They're going to pretty much negate the rest of the power play for Gulf Coast as they play it out to center ice and throw it down the length of the ice. It's going to be played down there by Gulf Coast as they look to reset up their next rush. 12:55 to go, second period, 1-1 tie. Gulf Coast with it over the left side. Drop pass with a shot deflected before it got to the goal, I believe. There's one up right past head coach Thomas Philbin and into the banner area. So he's got a smile on his face and fortunately not missing a newly vacated tooth.
Yeah, he'd have to visit the dentist out here in Plano. It was some good acrobatic moves to get out of the way of that puck.
Face-off will stay deep in the Fordham zone. It'll be to the right of Spanenberg. 12:47 to go in the second period. Again, a 1-1 tie. There's one. They fight for the face-off. Still in the face-off circle. They're going to kick at it over in the far corner as Horvath has it. He plays it out into the far side, and it hops over the stick of Bell. Here comes Fordham up over the line with an opportunity. There's a play. Oh, they almost had an opportunity on a 2-on-1 with a wide-open net. Instead, it's deflected over in the far corner. They're going to dig away at it over there. And finally, because D'Agostino had an opportunity for Fordham, but they couldn't cash in on it. 12:18 to go here in the second period of a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, I like D'Agostino's move there. He kind of slows down. He looks off the defender and then takes the shot. Unfortunately for D'Agostino, not finding the back of the net. But I do like the patience there. That's just a veteran move.
We've got a 1-1 tie, 12:07 to go in the second period. The last play, a save rather high. It wasn't going to go into the net, but Spanenberg thought he'd hang on to it anyways, as it was heading for the middle of the glass above the goal. Face-off will be to the left of Spanenberg. As taking the face-off will be Jacob Peralt for Gulf Coast as he'll go up against O'Malley. Shot. There's a rebound right out in front at the doorstep. Oh, they're going to chop at it. And finally, it's going to be deflected away by Spanenberg down on all fours. So another big opportunity for the Eagles.
Yeah, Spanenberg just sprawling out there, doing everything he can to keep that puck out of the net, getting the glove down on it, and so far, very, very impressive work from the Rams netminder.
Spangenberg with 14 saves here through just about 1.5 periods as they've deflected out to center ice. And there's one just about hit the head coach of the Oakland Grizzlies that's standing to our left as they observed before their game coming up against Kansas at 7 o'clock, I believe, or 7:30. 7 o'clock over on the other rink, that's right, as the face-off will be to the left here of Spangenberg again. Taking it for Gulf Coast will be Philbin as he'll go up against O'Malley, and it's won by the Rams. They clear it but not out. Trying to make a play on it was Gulf Coast, but instead it's brought back in their own zone. Is going after to regroup is Spencer Bell. He plays it out to the neutral zone. Good pass coming up over the line. Philbin with a shot right into the bread basket and glove again of Spangenberg, and he gets to add to his save total with another play there for the Rams.
Yeah, I like the, you got a one-on-one opportunity, kind of a tough play there. No real help, nothing you can really do, so why not put it on net? Maybe you would like to see that a little bit lower where you can maybe get a rebound off the pad, but, nonetheless, a shot on goal is a shot on goal. So.
That's right. Spangenberg will sprawl down for another save off the face-off, and he's going to keep the face-off to his left deep in the Rams zone, and we get a whistle. Okay. Well,
just settling the wingers out, I guess.
There's one shot in traffic blocked in the face-off circle. Held in, though, for a moment by Gulf Coast as Hartman played it over in the near corner. They throw it around the boards. A couple of Rams there to pick it up, and they're going to outlet it out to center ice. Coming up with it is O'Malley. He brings it up over the line. Cross-ice pass. Actually, O'Malley has it now. Drop pass, but nobody home, but it's still in the slot. With it over there is going to be Burke. Bird's a shot deflected wide. A rebound! Oh, my goodness. Hatch had his head up in the air. He thought he had a wide-open opportunity to make it a 2-1 game for Fordham.
Yeah, Kirch almost looked a little bit surprised on that, on Hatch's little backhand attempt there, but Kirch doing a nice job of getting back in position. Almost squeaked through that 5-hole, but was able to cover.
Gamby will take the face-off for Fordham. Down to the right of Kirch. They dig away at the face-off, won by Fordham, and they're going to shoot one that's deflected up in the safety netting. That time it was off the stick of Maxon Denome. He has 10 points on the year, 5 goals and 5 helpers. Again, another face-off to the right of Kirch. And they drop it and they dig away at it, and it's controlled by Gulf Coast. They rattle it around the boards, but it's held in at the point. Held in momentarily by Godowski. He plays it over in the far corner, but it's going to be played now back out to center ice. The Rams have to touch up onside, so Gulf Coast gets possession of the puck. They bring it out to center ice and come up quickly over the line. With it was Tremblay. He's knocked down, and the puck will be covered up, and we'll have a face-off still deep in the Fordham end.
Yeah, we're by nature of the setup of the rink, we're actually sitting with the Florida Gulf Coast fans. They wanted a trip there. I think it was a good no call, but the Eagles fans, loud and proud right now, well-traveled fan base. We know that their D2 team is playing in the divisional in the championship right now. They're up 2-0 last time we checked, and they have a ton of fans here from Florida.
Very vocal and very supportive, and that's so cool to see.
And it's great to see in what some would maybe consider non-traditional hockey markets like Florida.
Exactly. 10:28 to go here in the second period. A 1-1 tie. Quickly coming up over the line is Cross. Cross feeds it over to Malcolm with a shot deflected up over the top of the goal. Good play that time by the Eagles, flashing their speed, if you will, and it hops over the stick that time. A Papala back into the Florida Gulf Coast zone. We'll get some changes on the fly as we are approaching the halfway point of this one. Puck played out to center ice as Malcolm will play it. He'll just dump it in the zone. Actually going to throw it off the pad of Spangenberg, and it's going to be played out in the neutral zone. Halfway through this one, coming in on goal. There's a shot deflected before it got to the goal. It's in behind the goal again. Fordham tries to come up with the puck, and they do. As again, we're halfway through this one. Glad you could join us. We've got a 1-1 tie. Fordham brings it up over the line, bringing it up over in the corner. Going after the puck, trying to make a play on it. It's loose down there, and now finally held in at the blue line. Trying to play it is Sean Blaney. They play it now at the blue line. Now Florida Gulf Coast has it in the center ice area. They bring it up over the line, throwing it over on the left side. And they still dig away at it over in the far corner. They skate it. Centering play but stuck in the skates of Horvath. Now with it is Hartman. Hartman with a shot right into the breadbasket again of Spanenberg. And this should probably dictate our media timeout. Indeed it is. 9:12 to go in this second period. We're still knotted up at 1 here on the ACHA Hockey Network.
The 2019 ACHA National Championships are brought to you by Budget Car Rental, the preferred rental agency of the ACHA. Hogan Transportation, official tournament partners of the 2019 ACHA National Championships. Edge Protect, protecting goalie skate blades since 2004 and official sponsor of the 2019 ACHA National Championships.
The ACHA Hockey Network, we are a little over halfway done with this game, and with yours truly, Lou Gamlin, and my tag team partner, Ryan Jones. I'm sorry, my God, I had a brain cramp. I was thinking about the score across the way, and I totally whiffed.
No, you're good.
We've got a 1-1 tie here. It was 11-8 shots on goal, I believe, in favor of Fordham after 20 minutes of play. Gulf Coast has really ratcheted up a bit, outscoring them 12-3, but we still have a 1-1 tie, and Florida Gulf Coast really starting to flex their muscle a little bit.
Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast starting to get that cycle going. They're moving, they're shaking, they're getting a lot of shots here on Spanenberg, but he is playing out of his mind right now. Our good pal Jay Sewell, who's been commenting with us over the weekend, he always likes to point out that sometimes when a goalie can get in a rhythm by seeing a lot of shots, they play better than rather than having the play be 200 feet away from them.
Well, the puck is played out into the blue line area. Nice shot from the point area that time by Diaz, directed away from the goal. Again, we're under 9 minutes to go in the second period. We have a 1-1 tie. Skating around over in the corner after it is Connor Burke. He tries to make a play on it. Good play to hold it in. Ooh, towards the slot area. Almost deflected by Seth Cohen. They play it over on the left side. They're going to chop at it over there. Trying to make a defensive play is Austin O'Malley. O'Malley's got the tying goal here this afternoon for Fordham. We got a mad scramble over on the right side. Now it's played in behind the goal. Coming up with it is the Fordham Rams with Sean Johnson with the outlet over to Hatch. They played up over the line. Making the play on it there was Connor Burke. Burke tries to throw it towards the corner to Hatch. Centering play right out in front. Oh, and another big opportunity for the Rams as we've got 8:14 to go here in the second period. Still a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, it looks like in the corner there's maybe some discussion about each other's GPAs. But first off, Michael Kirch there. Great save. It looked like he was a little shaky on that, if he had it or not. I like Fordham going hard to the net because of those reasons. You just never know if that puck squirts out. You want to be right there to bury a rebound.
Face-off will indeed be to the right of Kirch as we've got a 20-15 shot and goal advantage for the Eagles. As the puck is rolled out to the blue line, now it's going to be 2-on-2 the other way. They dump it down into the corner. Philbin does for Gulf Coast. It's going to take what we like to call a Joe Louis Arena bounce, a hard bounce towards the goal. And Spanenberg is just going to cover that one up. We don't get those at Little Caesars Arena anymore. It's soft, but give it about 10 years. Maybe it'll harden up over there in the corners.
Yeah, Fordham there. I'm not impressed by Fordham's back check on that one. It was a 3-on-3, but we had some guys kind of lollygagging back towards the zone. And when back in my playing days, we had a saying on our team: forecheck, back check, paycheck, right? Because you have to put in the work on both ends. You can't be lazy getting back to help out your defense, because that's going to cost them, especially against a good team like Florida Gulf Coast.
And winning the face-off is the Fordham Rams. They're going to outlet it out to the center ice area. Playing that time with the puck was Godowski to DePierre. There's one shot up over the top of the goal. Going to roll around over to the left side. They're going to play it out right towards the goal. And Kirch again will cover it up. And I think, Ryan, that's a good point you made about Kirch a little bit earlier. He has looked a little tentative and, for lack of a better word, shaky on some of them stops. I don't know if he's nervous. I know Jared Birch has been a goaltender with with Florida Gulf Coast for quite a few years. And Kurtz getting the call here tonight.
Yeah, and Kurtz comes into this game unblemished record. He's a senior, but when the bright lights are on and this stage is set, you can get a little bit shaky. We all know goalies can be, I'll just leave it at that. How about that?
They're their own breed sometimes, in a good way.
Yeah, perfect. That's the best way to say it.
And he left a wide open, kind of a juicy rebound, if you will, at the start of the play on the other end. But we've gone end-to-end again as we're down to about 7:15 to go in the second period. Again, we've got a 1-1 tie. Fordham and Florida Gulf Coast, they played around the boards over on the far side. Gulf Coast will have it. They'll clear the zone out to center ice. Going to be played down in the Fordham end. Chasing after it will be Morph again for Fordham. They played out in the neutral zone area. Going to be skated towards by David Cross back in his own zone. He'll cross ice it, and the Rams will come up with it. Good outlet coming up over the line for Gulf Coast was Mitruska, and his shot blocked, and he gets rolled into the goal area, and it's back played in the neutral zone by Diaz.
Yeah, that was Mitruska getting lit up there. That's a price you pay for trying to go hard to the net.
Just like the referee almost paid for one there.
Yeah.
There's one thrown towards the net, almost dangerously tipped in by one of the Fordham Rams. Puck played over in the near corner now. Going after it is Lundqvist. Lundqvist has it, plays it out on top to Diaz. He throws it towards the net in a bunch of traffic, but Fordham will come up with it. 6:15 to go here in the second period. Still a 1-1 tie as Fordham will try to skate it out of the zone. They do. They tip it into the Gulf Coast end. Going in on the puck. Over in the corner trying to make a play on it that time was one of the Rams that was bounced off the puck. And his number I couldn't see, but the Rams now come up with it. They hold it into the zone. But there's a good job by Gulf Coast to make a play on it. Bringing the puck now. They're going to throw it down in the far corner. Good hustle play by Connor Black. It goes all the way around the boards. They try to set it up down in the far end, but make a couple of changes. But again, some hustle play by Seth Cohen to try to come up with it in the Fordham end. Held in at the point, now deflected, and coming up with the puck is Fordham, but they're going to have to dump it down. And we are indeed going to get an icing call. 5.5 to go here in this second period. Still a 1-1 tie, but I'll tell you what, not for lack of action.
No, it's been a fantastic start of the game, a real treat to watch for both sides. Would have liked to see DiAgostino just take 2 more strides before firing that puck down, but we have an offensive zone face-off for Florida Gulf Coast. Let's see if anybody can get on the board.
Ooh, there was a nifty move. But there was nobody home. A nifty move by Tremblay to try to throw it out front. But again, nothing to show for it as the Fordham Rams had that lane closed off. They dig at it now. We get a whistle and a stoppage of play. A little pushing and shoving over there in the corner, trying to find out where to go for dinner afterwards, I think. But I don't know. I think they're going to still hold off on making plans with 5:17 to go in the period, still 1-1.
Maybe they're just discussing their favorite Texas barbecue side dishes or something
Boy,
like that.
I tell you what, I think they both, well, I guess I'll give them a plug. I don't care. It was good yesterday. Hard Eights was a very good place to go. Ryan, I think we definitely got to go there one more time before the week's over.
I would love to get some spare ribs with you, Lou.
Oh, boy. I'm going back for some more of that sirloin with that vat full of corn on the cob. Yum. Puck at center ice going to be dumped into the zone, and it's going to be gloved off by Spanenberg, and he'll just hang on with 5:02 to go here in this second period. Again, we're all knotted up at 1.
Yeah, shots pretty even here at 21-17, but I will say that Florida Gulf Coast definitely has had the better opportunities, but Spanenberg definitely doing work between the pipes here, keeping this a tie game.
I got a question for you, Ryan, as the puck rolls down in the Gulf Coast end. You get to this point where there's about 3 to 4 minutes left in the second period. You've been playing for about 37 minutes. Is this, I've noticed this in the tournaments, is this a time where there's a lull in the energy of both teams and where you could really catch somebody napping?
It certainly is. I think with the last 5 minutes, you can either overextend yourself or you're looking forward to the intermission. So you see a lot of stretch passes, just like that attempt right there, right? And what does that do? It results in an icing. Now that puck's coming 200 feet for an offensive zone faceoff for the Eagles. You also get a lot of neutral zone turnovers. And when you extend yourself and try to play hero, you can also lead to some odd man rushes, 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s that a lot of teams capitalize. We saw earlier in the game, or earlier in last game, a goal with just 0.4 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
So, you have to be on your game for a full 20 minutes, not 15, not 17, not 1990
Exactly.
Or 1959. Yep. It's got to be a full 20.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Just takes one shot with, like you say, 0.5 of a second, which happened across the way in our game, too. And fortunately for Fairfield, it didn't cost them their game.
Yeah, we got some action going on. We're going to get two guys going off to the box.
Matruska, it looks like, and Gamby.
Yeah, so they're still talking to each other.
Wow.
It goes back. So now we're 4-on-4. I think this probably favors the Eagles a little bit with a little bit more space, right? When we see both guys get carted off to the penalty box. It goes back to, these two guys are still, John, in the middle of the box. It goes back to our point. You got to be mentally tough. You can't let somebody else get under your skin like that and be taken off. You just can't. If someone wants to face wash you or cross check you or whatever, you skate away and you draw a power play. It's as simple as that. You just got to stay out of it sometimes. It's not the NHL, right? You're not wearing a half cage. You're not throwing fisticuffs. So in college hockey, it's and it really at all levels of hockey, when you're wearing a face mask, it never really made sense to me why guys would really get into it. Unless something really egregious happens, I guess. It never made sense to me.
And the puck is controlled by Gulf Coast. They skated up over the line. Diaz tries to come in on goal, deflected wide, held in at the point. They're going to play it now on top. Cross has it. There's a shot. Kicked away over to the right side by Spanenberg. Playing it in behind the goal. Ooh, there was almost a centering play. Fordham now will try to get out of the zone. Nifty play to get it out of the zone by Hatch, but he's met there by one of the Eagles, and they throw it deep down into the Fordham zone. They'll make a couple of changes. 3:35 to go in the period. $1.25 in the 4-on-4. With the puck at the blue line on the Florida Gulf Coast end was O'Malley. He dumps it into the Florida Gulf Coast zone as they look to get a couple of changes. 3:25 to go in the period. With it out on top now for the Rams. Bringing it up over the line is Johnson. Johnson backhands it over in the corner. Hatch goes after it. They chop at it now over in the far side. And it's still loose in the Gulf Coast end. Good play by Hatch to keep it in. Backhand pass. Ooh, there's a shot. Kicked away easily by Kirch, and it's played over now by Gulf Coast. They're going to come up. They've got a 3-on-2 possibility. Coming up over the line with it is Tremblay. Tremblay on the right side stops, wheels and deals with it. Now out on top with a trailer. There's a shot deflected high up over the top of the goal by Cohen. There's one loose right at the doorstep and kicked away all the way out to the blue line. Good play to hold it in by Cohen. He's got it on top. He passes it over to Hartman. Hartman with a cross-ice pass. Deflected off the glove of Black. And they're going to clear it down into the corner. Florida Gulf Coast still with it. There's a hit. But now the Fordham Ram is without his stick. And they're going to be playing it over on the right side. And here's almost like a power play opportunity. There's one high in the air. And we're going to get a play over in the far corner. Oh, the Florida Gulf Coast fans wanted a trip. Play over on the near side. Played in behind the goal. They're going to wheel and deal with it behind there. Both teams at full strength. 5-on-5. Coming up on 2 minutes to go in the opening period. They kick away at it over in the near corner. Going after it for Fordham that time was Gamby to try to make a play on it. There's one cleared over and deflected over on the far side. Gulf Coast with the heat on as now Fordham will come up with possession of the puck, withstanding the Florey.
Stick.
Oh.
I get that Burke's tired, man. He needed a hustle to get his stick. He's kind of lollygagging out there.
There's a play, a drop pass, shot right out. Oh, there was a pass right out in front. And we're going to get a whistle and a stoppage of play as Kirch is down in front of the goal. And it looks like, again, it looks like Gamby talking to somebody, but instead of unpleasantries, they slap each other on the backside. So 1:36 to go, second period. We still got a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, a long shift for the Rams there. It was kind of, like you said, it was kind of like a power play opportunity once Burke lost his stick. My only issue is once the play started going back the other way, he's lollygagging to not only get his stick, but nobody on the Rams changed. So you really find yourself, you get stuck out there for a minute or so. You really need to get back to the bench because heavens forbid, the puck comes back in your zone, you have to defend for another 30 to 45 seconds. You're going to be completely gassed.
Wow, there was an opportunity that time just about for Horvath to have a breakaway right at the last second. A good play by the Rams to thwart that. He was trying to bird dog that loose puck to go down the other end. Puck in behind the Florida Gulf Coast zone as now they look to set up their next rush with a $1:12 left to go in the second period. Good play on defense to keep it at center ice, but Fordham now trying to get it out of the zone. Looks like they're playing more defensive hockey at the moment. Gulf Coast now will throw it down into the zone of the Fordham Rams. Down to a minute to go in the second period. Here's an outlet pass coming up over the line to Pierre. Centering play right in on goal. It's loose. And Kirch is going to hang on as we've got 51.5 seconds left to go here in the second period. Still a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, great setup there. Just couldn't get enough on the shot. I was thinking that was going to be the one to break the equalizer here that we have just with 1 minute to go. We talked about how important the final 5 minutes have been, and now the final 51.5 seconds. We'll see if we can get someone to break the tie.
Here comes Gulf Coast quickly out of the zone. We get a whistle and a stoppage of play.
Be a hand pass.
Oh, okay, good call. I did not see that one.
I didn't either. I just saw the refs doing it. Yeah.
Well, Ryan, you just got to go with it, man. I would have believed you. Well, then again, you could tell me my pants are on fire, and I'd believe you probably. Face off to the left of Kirch now with 47.5 seconds left to go in the second period of a 1-1 tie. Off the face-off, they dig away at it over on the far side, just about by the Fordham bench. Coming up with it are the Eagles now. Outlet pass coming out to Malcolm. Malcolm will skate it up over the line, throw it towards the goal. Wide of the goal. It's going to go all the way out to the point, held in by Lee. Lee plays it over to Steinmetz, but here comes Fordham with an opportunity with 27 seconds left. Up over the line, coming up with it is Burke. Burke tries to throw it in, and he does, and it's going to be gloved off by Kurt, so that'll keep the face-off in the Gulf Coast end with 23 seconds left to go here in this second period. Still tied at 1.
Yeah, nice stretch pass there through the neutral zone, tape to tape, leading to the offensive rush. And now you get, if you're the Rams, you probably get maybe 1-2 shots here with just 22 seconds left if you can win this draw, which they do.
Face-off from the face-off circle, shot rather after the face-off. Going to be deflected over in the corner, down to about 15 seconds left as O'Malley goes after it over in the near corner. There's one they try to get pressure right in front of the net. Zone of Florida Gulf Coast, and that's going to do it for 40 minutes of play. And just where we started after 20, we're still after 40. Ryan, we've got ourselves one dandy of a third period shaping up here on day 1.
Yeah, this is going to be an intense final 20 minutes. Both teams have played a good, clean 40. My question is, who can complete that 60 right now? Can the 4-seed Fordham pull off the upset here on day 1? It'll be interesting to see. I think this is where, all your hard work and training is going to come pay off. How conditioned are you? And especially for Fordham is, can you keep up with the speed of this?
This period in favor of Gulf Coast, and they've got a two-period total of 22-19 for Fordham. One tie here on day number 1 of the Division 3. Well, welcome back to the ACHA Hockey Network. 40 minutes into the books. We've got a 1-1 tie here in this Donnie Bay Division III pool play. Yours truly, Lou Gamlin, with my tag team partner, Ryan Jones. And Ryan, man, I can't wait to get this third period started. This has been great.
Yeah, it's been back and forth hockey so far. Both netminders playing very well. Shots in favor so far of Florida Gulf Coast, 22-19, so not that much of a discrepancy between the two. It'll be interesting. We will find it. I think there's been both teams knocking on the door. A big key is going to be which team can stay out of the penalty box, because the power play opportunities for Fordham was the one that put them on the board, and that's really where they've generated a 5-on-5 action. So just depends, but it'll be back and forth action. It's been a real treat of a game to call and to watch. If you're watching here live in Plano or alongside us in the ACHA.
Home white jerseys with the green and blue trim, if you will. They've been a number one seed in their pool for the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know if I've ever seen them come to a national tournament without wearing these jerseys, because they call 9 seconds into this one. It'll bring the face-off down in the Florida Gulf Coast end.
And you mentioned this Florida Gulf Coast team just kind of building up a dynasty, the men's Divisional II National Championship. So I know that this Division III team would like to do the same thing, as they're going to ice the... Oh, he beat him out. Good hustle.
Oh, boy. And a cover-up over there by Spanenberg. And real quick, coming up after that will be the Division I championship game between two underdogs, if you will, in Minot State and Iowa State. And it was nice talking to a former player of Iowa State's D3 team that I've gotten to know. He and one of their old head coaches, an assistant now at the D1 level, as they're getting ready for that big game over there. A couple of teams that we didn't really think would be there in the final in D1.
Yeah, 5 versus 6 seed. Both of them have battled their way to the championship game, well deserving. That game's going to kick off around 7:30, so you can either kick it with us over at the Division III, or if you want to see the Division I men's championship, that's happening at 7:30 at the Comerica Center.
I'd say that they stick with us till this one's over. Then they can wet their beak with that one, and then come back for the other games here starting at 7:30 or so. There's a play deflected over in the near corner, deep in the Florida Gulf Coast end. They chop at it over there. They're going to wheel it around to the near side. It's going to be played now out in the blue line area. Finally coming up with it is Gulf Coast. They're going to backtrack with the puck. Kyle Horvath, he'll play it off over on the blue line. They make a couple of changes. We're under a minute gone in this third period. We've got a 1-1 tie. They're going to skate it up over the line. Hartman drops it off for Spencer Bell deep in their own zone, as Fordham now will try to keep the pressure on Gulf Coast. Gulf Coast with their next rush have it out to the blue line area. Skating coast to coast is Hartman. Drops it off in the slot, but again, Fordham with a frustrating defense brings it up the other way. Coming up over the line with a D'Agostino, and offsides will be the call. As you're nodding your head, yes, you agree with it.
Yeah, we're just in the nature of this stadium. We are right on top of this blue line, so I've gotten to play a little bit of linesman today. I do think that Fordham just a touch offside, which is a shame because they were coming in with a lot of speed there.
Face-off will indeed be right in front of us. Taking that face-off will be Stanisberry for Fordham, and he'll go up against the number 2. That would have been Pupula for Gulf Coast, but instead it's played in behind the Fordham goal. All the way down the other end, they dig away at it. 23-19, shots on goal in favor of Gulf Coast. There's one deflected right out in the slot area. It's dangerously close, but they're going to fight away for it over in the corner. They're going to hold on to it up at the blue line, and it hopped over the stick of Elijah Lee. They're going to have to hurry. Oncoming was D'Agostino that time. And finally coming up with a puck with a centering play. Ooh, that was a dangerous play right out in front as well. There's one played out to center ice and going to be played back in the Fordham end, as now they're going to regroup with the puck. There's one played down off the stick now of Kirch. He'll throw it around the boards, and he's going to send it off in the direction of David Cross. Held in, though, at the blue line with a shot. Deflected up over the top of the goal. That one taken by Blaney. There's another one held. It's loose at the doorstep. Right out in front. Oh, they chop away at it. Oh, my goodness. Gulf Coast comes up with it. They dodged a huge bullet that time. 3-on-2 the other way. There's a feed. There's a shot. Covering it up is Spanenberg. Holy cow. 24-21 shots on goal, but man, did Fordham have a golden opportunity there.
Yeah, I think that Florida Gulf Coast bench there just collectively exhales. Matthew Kirch with a couple of saves. Puck was loose there. Surprised that did not find the back of the net, and we still are tied here. Ooh, our heart's racing.
Yikes, 24-21 shots on goal, as I mentioned, in favor of Gulf Coast. There's one thrown towards the net that's wide of the goal. They're going to deflect it over on the far side, held in at the blue line. Good play to do that by Diaz. But here comes Fordham up over the line the other way with a try. Denome with a play in behind the goal. Now he circles around to the other side. And there's one deflected. Here comes Gulf Coast 2-on-1. What a good play to get back on defense, but coming up over the line is Nappy. There's a shot that sails wide, coming all the way out to the blue line the other way. Here comes Fordham, drop pass, looking for DePerrier. He throws it in behind the goal, deflected. He goes back after it over here on the near side. Outlet pass, here comes Gulf Coast with the puck is Black. Black skates up over the line. His pass deflected, but coming up with it is Cohen. Cohen has it. We get a Gulf Coast member down, limping off over towards the bench area, and that's going to be Tremblay, one of the assistant captains. Puck held in at the red line. They're going to play it back into the Fordham zone. Coming up with the puck there is going to be one of the it's going to be Flanagan for Fordham. Puck still played deep in the Florida end. They got to be careful, watching out for the lackadaisical on defense with a shot. They score! One-timer from the left-hand corner, and that's going to be Mason Lundquist, and it's 2-1. Gulf Coast, time of the goal, 3:45.
Great shot there, Mason Lundquist, top shelf, absolute class. And Florida Gulf Coast finally breaking this tie. Long time coming, first 5 minutes. Talked a lot about it, first 5 minutes, last 5 minutes. Really important about how you start and how you finish. And Florida Gulf Coast starts off the period the same way they started off that first, with a goal in that first 5 minutes.
Well, you know, it looked like, in my opinion on that one, Fordham just for a split second, I don't know if they just were distracted or took their eye off the plate, just off the throttle. And I'll tell you, Mason Lundquist made them pay with that one-timer from the top over by the point there on the left side.
Sure did. Before that, we did note that Cody Tremblay, the assistant captain, kind of took a weird knee-to-knee hit. Didn't get called. He kind of was slow to get to the bench, still getting worked on by the trainers. So hopefully he's okay, and we'll return to this game. Hopefully it's just like a dead leg or a bruise.
Well, Mason Lundquist gets the go-ahead goal at 3:45, and now Gulf Coast with a 2-1 lead. They've got it deep in their own end. Theodore Pupula plays it out to the blue line into the neutral zone. Fordham still trying to apply the pressure. There's a hit off the hit. Here comes Hatch up over the line with a shot. Shouldered away over there by Kirch. They played over on the far side. Going to be held in at the red line, or checked out in the face-off circle. There's a big hit in the slot area, and here comes Gulf Coast. Coming up over the line with it is Verall. Verall with a cross-ice pass, centering pass rather, and gloved off by Spanenberg. And we get a mad scrum right in front of that goal. 4.5 gone, still 2-1 Gulf Coast.
As they separate everybody. Would have liked to see maybe one more pass there. Nicholas Nappy on that right side. Kind of an awkward angle as he's a lefty. He needs to open up his hips there. Give your teammates a target right there, because one more pass, and I think that you probably are up 3-1 right now, is the right play to make. Unfortunately, they just shoot it on goal. We got to stoppage play.
15:31 remaining in regulation time. We've got a 2-1 lead for Gulf Coast, thanks to Mason Lundquist at 3:45. One-timer from just outside the left face-off circle, and now they're going to...
Looks like we're going to go 4-on-4.
Okay.
Assuming it was probably maybe two roughs aside, we'll get the call over the PA system. But a lot of, once again, 4-on-4, a lot of open ice. I do think that this favors the Eagles to add to the lead.
Kevin Philbin will go off for Gulf Coast, and it looks like it's going to be Austin O'Malley for Fordham, as we've got a 2-1 lead for Gulf Coast. The number one seed in the pool. It's number 1 versus number 4. Off the face-off, controlled by the Rams in behind their own goals. They look to start the next rush, if you will. They skated up into the neutral zone. Stanisberry will bring it up over the line over on the left side. He's bounced off the puck. Going after it in behind the goal is Connor Davis. We get a collision now. Here comes Gulf Coast with the puck. 15:08 to go here in the third period. 2-1 our score. Gulf Coast on top. Puck played out at center ice. Fordham comes up with it. They have it right by their own blue line. Now they played out in the neutral zone. Good play to knock it down in the Gulf Coast end. They throw it around the boards. Going to be going after it is Fordham. Fordham, the centering play deflected over on the left face-off circle with 14:45 to go here in the third period. Here comes Gulf Coast with the puck. They've got it coming out of their own zone is Diaz. Diaz throws it down in the corner, playing it around the boards. Going to play almost dangerous play over by the goaltender Spanenberg. They played out the center ice. 3-on-2 now the other way, coming up over the line with the puck. Morphigan, he plays it over in the near corner. Going to play all the way over to the other side. Going after it is Gamby. They throw it in behind the Florida Gulf Coast goal with about 48 seconds left of the 4-on-4.
They waved off the icing there.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that one. I took my off just for a split second to see that they did indeed wave it off, and it's deflected out at center ice. Fordham now comes up over the line. Little play that time deflected back out in the neutral zone. Now they're going to dump it down to the far side of the Gulf Coast zone as we get some wholesale changes for Fordham. They played out to center ice. This one's going to be dumped all the way down, and we will indeed get that icing call. 13:48 to go. Things have opened up a little bit. We've got a 2-1 hockey game now in favor of Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, long shift here for the Eagles to know that the Fordham could really use a good cycle here. Keep that offensive pressure on the Eagles as this shift starts to run into a minute and a half. And as I say it, Florida, good breakout.
Very impressive play that time by Kyle Horvath on that face-off. He went right after his own face-off and was able to stick it out of the zone and throw it down into the other end. Puck held in at the red line by Hartman. He dumps it to the blue line. Now it's played out to center ice. Coming up with it is Fordham. They backtrack to set up possession. 13:22 to go here in regulation time. 2-1 our score in favor of Gulf Coast. On a turnover, there's a shot, and he scores! What a shot that time, a one-timer of his own. Connor Burke throws it past Kurtz, and we've got a 2-2 tie.
Wow, Connor Burke on the 2-on-1 says, I can do it myself. Just an absolute rifle from Burke into the back of the net. We are tied up once again, 2-2. Connor Burke, absolute beautiful shot. Just Kurtz just never had a shot.
No.
Never had a shot. Absolute beautiful shot.
And Jonesy, I'll tell you, it looked just like the last goal that was scored by Gulf Coast. FGCU, I don't know if they caught in a line change or it looked like they just let up for just a second. And that's all it takes.
And that's all it takes when it comes to these ACHA tournaments. You can never let your guard down, and Fordham right now is saying, anything you can do, I can do better.
Man, this has turned into a dandy, a 2-2 tie. Shots on goal now, 26-25 in favor of Gulf Coast. Well, we are all knotted up at 2. Puck held in at the blue line. They're going to dig away at it right in front. Now they play it out into the neutral zone area. They chop at it. Florida Gulf Coast comes up with it, and a big hit right before the whistle is knocked down was Pupola. He was bumped off the puck that time by DePerrier. But we get a stoppage of play.
Yeah, we've seen both these teams kind of jawing at each other. Things getting a little bit more physical here as we're winding down close to halfway through the third period, just over 3 minutes till the halfway mark. But I think that we're going to see a lot of that throughout the rest of the game.
You can feel the intensity pick up here right now with just about 12 and a half to go in this third period. There's one loose right out in front again over in the far side. Fordham coming up with it, another shot blocked. Held in, no, it hopped over the blue line, and they did call it okay. I was going to say, one of
the head linesman here, he blows the whistle, immediately turns down and kind of gives the stop sign to the Florida Gulf Coast bench, like, calm down, I understand it's offside, I'm doing my job, guys.
Oh, and you got the 150 referees that paid to get in sitting behind us that wanted to make sure they saw it too. Puck played out at center ice. Coming up with it is Fordham. They dump it down into the Gulf Coast zone. as we're down to 12:27 to go here in regulation time. We're all knotted up at 2. No goals scored in the second period. One apiece here in the third to make it a 2-2 tie. They throw it down on the far end. Gulf Coast comes up with it with a shot that's gloved away with Spanenberg, and that'll make it 27-26 shots on goal. Again, 12:15 to go, regulation time. We're tied at 2.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Rams kind of increase their forecheck right now. They've been a little bit passive so far this period. I understand when you're electing to change, but if all 5 guys are going to stay out on the ice, make Florida Gulf Coast kind of think about it coming out of their zone. You know, I think the Eagles have had a great forecheck the entire game, and especially, you know, when it comes to tourney time, you got to be leaving it all out there. Leave nothing in the tank, because it's even though this game we're in pool play, so it's not necessarily win or go home right now. Getting those points are huge.
Oh, without a doubt. There's one kicked away. I'm not sure if it was saved or if it was indeed kicked away by Spanenberg because it was thrown in traffic. There's one shot from the blue line that sailed wide of the goal, and it's going to come all the way out now to center ice. Fordham with control. Burke drops it off for Hatch. Hatch with a shot right back into the glove of Kirch, and he'll hang on. You know, to your point, Ryan, in Division III anyways, we were talking about it in the last game. In the last 3 years, if you lost the first game, you know, you didn't get out of your pool. Now, last year there was a 2-1 team that made it, that being Hope, but they had already clinched it before the final day, so they rested, I think, at least a half a dozen of their players. And so that was Hope College who won it all. So this is so important to win here on this first day. There's one right out in front, and finally Kirch will hang on. So, like you were saying, you know, you really want to get that upper hand tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you want to control your own destiny. You know, that's the saying, is control your own destiny. A couple years ago in Salt Lake City, when I was playing for the University of Utah, the Florida Gulf Coast team knocked us out of the championship with a win, and the issue becomes on that second day, or on the first day, if you lose, then you're scoreboard watching, and that's never a fun feeling. So you want to get the points. You want to just leave it all out there. And like you said, it's really, really rare that another team's going to tie or you know, the front runner loses.
Oh, boy, there was a golden opportunity for Gulf Coast. They had it set up with some nice passing, but the shot whistled up over the top of the goal. We're coming up on 11:20 to go here in this third period. Again, both teams tied at 2. They play it up out to center ice, and now it's deflected. Here's kind of a giveaway coming up over the line. Here comes Burke. He tried to feed O'Malley coming in, but a good back check by the Eagles as they played out to center ice. One handing it over the line is Hartman. He fed an on-rushing Steinmetz, but it was a little out of his reach, and it's going to be deflected out to the neutral zone area. And it's going to be played out to the blue line, now out to center ice, and finally going to be met up there at the blue line by Fordham as they try to wheel and deal it themselves. Oh, here's a giveaway for Gulf Coast. Malcolm comes up over the line, throws it down over in the near corner. He's going to feed it over to Mulholland. They play it over on the right side. They chop away at it over on the near side. 10:36 to go here in this third period. Again, we've got a 2-2 tie. Shots are also even now at 28 apiece. There's one. Long rebound. Loose over in the corner. Now it's going to be deflected out into the Gulf Coast end.
Good play there by Harrison DiAugustino with the stick lift, making sure that rebound chance was not going back in.
Ooh, nice play there by Fordham to redirect to get the rush going as they played out to center ice, tipped into the zone. Down there by Mike Gamby. Gamby with 53 points in the regular season to lead Fordham now as they try to withstand the next play by Gulf Coast. They bring it up over the line, centering pass. Cross ice pass, nobody home, and it's going to be controlled by Fordham. They hold it in at the point, throw it down into the near corner, hopped over the stick, and now over in the far corner, the near corner, if you will, now held out at the point. Good play to hold it in by Diaz. He dumps it back over on the left face-off circle. Under 10 to go in the third period. 2-2 our score. There's one thrown towards the slot. Fordham able to hold on. They play it out to center ice. Again, deflected back in the zone. Offsides will be the call.
You can hear the moans and groans of the Florida Gulf Coast fans behind us. Tough to see from this angle, but the linesman right on top of that one.
9:35 to go here in this third period. We're going to take our media break. Don't go anywhere. 2-2 tie on the ACHA Broadcast Network.
The 2019 ACHA National Championships are brought to you by Budget Car Rental, the preferred rental agency of the ACHA. Hogan Transportation, official tournament partners of the 2019 ACHA National Championships. Edge Protect, protecting goalie skate blades since 2004 and official sponsor of the 2019 ACHA National Championships.
And welcome back to the ACHA Broadcast Network. Media timeout over. Both teams getting a little bit of a rest here. 9:35 to go, regulation time. Ryan, we've got a 2-2 tie, and I'll tell you, you can feel the tension. It is raising. You can feel the intensity raising. This is what it's all about with tournament time.
Yeah, and if you're on the bench right now, it's time to look at each other and, decide that you're going to elevate your game and hopefully write your name and etch it into the history books for your program. As we're going to get a power play for Fordham right now.
Oh, boy.
I think it's going to be a slashing call. We'll see who the culprit is. It's going to be number 28 of Florida Gulf Coast. That's Craig Fitzgerald. And right after that media timeout, we talked about it before, when that's the adjustment period, we'll see if Fordham can set something up right now with a 2-minute power play with 9:25 left on the clock.
Indeed, Fitzgerald going to the box, but winning the faceoff is Gulf Coast, and they'll send it the length of the ice. 9:20 to go here in this third period. We've got a 2-2 tie, shots all even at 29 apiece. They're going to dig at it now over on the near corner. They're going to try to outlet it out to center ice. That's where they'll play it. Drop pass to Hatch. Hatch comes over the line, plays it with a cross-ice pass. A little too strong for O'Malley. Wasn't really ready for that one, but they now played over on the left side.
Yeah, they're thankful. Ooh.
This is where they got to be careful for the speed, but Spanenberg with a smart play to make it out. Ooh, boy, he almost coughed it up. I retract that. Sorry about that. I misplayed the puck myself. Oh, my goodness. Ooh, there's a Malachi crunch right in front of us.
What a play.
Man, oh, man, good penalty kill by Gulf Coast.
Yeah, Lundqvist from his belly right there, making sure that the puck gets out of the zone. Florida Gulf Coast doing a nice job on the kill.
Ooh, there's one right out in front. Kick save by Kirch over to the right side. Puck loose over in the near corners. We're down to 55 seconds left in the power play. Trying to set it up in the slot. Instead, they'll have to go back out and regroup. And almost losing a shoe that time, and it hopped over the stick. A little too far that time for DePerrier. So, again, wholesale changes for both sides on the power play.
Yeah, Rams seem a little bit like they're forcing the issue. They feel the weight of the moment of this power play right now. They need to relax.
Puck thrown into the neutral zone area. Easily played by Gulf Coast, played by Hartman.
Smart
and he's going to
play.
back. Yeah, good call there, Ryan, as he backtracked to really waste some more time.
Yeah, really smart play, Hartman right now. Great kill by Florida Gulf Coast with only 10 seconds left on the penalty. Looks like they're going to escape another one.
Ooh, big hit right in front of us now as they have it in the near boards. 5 seconds left with the extra man. 7.5 to go in the third period. Again, a 2-2 tie. And we get a whistle and a stoppage of play as we're going to keep the face-off, I believe, down in the Gulf Coast end. So there was a play here, too, that I really liked that almost resulted in a breakaway. That Christoph Malcolm, he was kind of bird dogging right by the circle there by the blue line, and it almost turned it into a breakaway.
Yeah, great overall, great kill there by Florida Gulf Coast. They did a nice job of denying the blue line entry for the Rams, and they live to see another day.
Backhand play right out in front. It's loose at the doorstep, or whatever you want to call it, right in the crease area. As 3 shots on goal on the power play that time for Florida, or for Fordham rather, as they've got the advantage, 32-29.
Wow, it sure looked like that puck was going to cross the line. A nice couple of initial saves by Kirch, but then that centering try looked to go off of his back of his leg and head towards the red line. Then the scrum. I mean, if only we had the replay review at the Divisional 3 level, we could maybe see how close that really was. to the back of the net there.
There's one, a face-off. That's shot deflected before it got to the goal. As Gulf Coast will throw it around the boards, they hold it out at the blue line. Now it's going to be deflected right out in front of us. They come up with it at center ice. Coming up over the line with the puck is Hatch. Hatch over on the left side with a shot, and he scores! Hatch with the go-ahead goal right past Kirch, and we've got a 3-2 hockey game in favor of Fordham.
Nice play there. I think the Florida Gulf Coast kind of overextended themselves. They were expecting that puck to be broken out. They had two forwards floating around in the neutral zone, not helping getting back. And just a nice shot there, keeping it low to the ice. I know a lot of guys are going to try to go for the highlight reel roof, but they all count the same as long as they're in the back of the net. He beats Kirch 5-hole, and the Rams 7 minutes away from pulling off the upset. But I'll tell you this, I don't think this is going to be enough, Lou. A one-goal lead is not going to decide this game. I really think that someone's going to have to get another goal.
Let's see this real quick.
It's Mazier.
O'Malley with the second point of the
night.
And it's now 3-2 in favor of Fordham. And there's one deflected out of play. So, wow.
Yeah, here's where this, your ground rules come into play. Is if you're trying to pitchfork that puck high and out of the zone, it's not like the Comerica Center where we've hosted the D1 game so far with the high arena ceiling. You got a low ceiling here, so teams need to make sure that when they're trying to flip the puck out of the zone, it's better to go high off the glass instead of just skying it up in the air.
Boy, Fordham on top now, 3-2 with about 6:25 to go here in regulation time. Gulf Coast had a 2-1 lead, but two unanswered goals by Fordham here has tied things up in the third, and then the go-ahead goal in the third period. Fordham now has it in their own end. Look to try to extend it just to keep it out of the zone. They play it out to center ice. It bounces off a couple of bodies, held in right there by Hartman. Hartman now will bring it up over the line. He wheels and deals with a shot. Spanenberg with a save. They throw it around the boards. Now going to be played over in the far corner. Holding it up is Hartman. Hartman has it in his pocket, his pick. Here we go on a breakaway. Coming up over the line with a play is Denome. There's a shot. Oh, and he lost control, but it still almost went through the 5-hole of Kirch, and he hangs on to keep it a 1-goal lead.
Godowski, what a chance there. He lost control, but it's almost like it was a little magic wand, right? Waving over the puck. Almost snuck it 5-hole behind Kirch. And a bad turnover, but Florida Gulf Coast is bailed out.
Face-off will be to the right of Florida Gulf Coast, of the goaltender Kirch, and they'll hang on. And we've got a stoppage of play with 5:45 to go here in this third period. We've got a 3-2 lead for Fordham as they look to try to pull off the surprise of the tournament so far. But here comes Gulf Coast. Still plenty of time, as you mentioned. Coming up over the line the other way is Horvath. Horvath comes in with a shot deflected wide of the goal. Played all the way around the boards. They're going to play it now. Here comes Fordham. Fordham with it out to center ice. Big move, big hit that time. Coming up on Burke as they play it right in behind the goal. Gulf Coast now playing it over on the far side. They chop away at it as they finally will come up with it, but going in to try to defend it still is Connor Davis. Good play by Fordham to keep the play down deep in the Florida Gulf Coast end. And here we go right in front of us, and we're going to get a whistle and a stoppage of play. We're going to get a tripping call, I believe, and that's going to set up a power play for Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, tough plays, tough call to make there, but I think that's the right call.
Yeah.
A trip in this situation is exactly the thing that you did not need. Letting this Florida Gulf Coast power play come out once again. Do the Rams have yet another kill in them with just 5 minutes to go? 5 minutes to go. You got to stay out of that box.
Face-off will be to the right of Spanenberg. He's made 28 saves as really the shot on goal advantage. Huge in favor of Fordham as there's a shot right into the breadbasket of Spanenberg. He'll hang on to keep the pressure deep in the Fordham end.
Yeah, how good has Spanenberg been tonight? I mean, he's just been all over the place. So far, 29 saves. He looks comfortable. He's been in position. His rebound control's been great. I mean, he does have the 2-goal blemish right now. Pretty tough plays on both of them, but right now Spangenberg has been a real highlight to watch.
Puck played out on top, now going to be played over on the left side. Shot taken, deflected away by Tremblay, and it's going to be lifted down the length of the ice. A big play so far for Fordham. 4:43 to go, regulation time. Gulf Coast trailing 3-2 as they look to make their next rush. And there's a lazy pass, going to eat up a few more seconds. Good heads-up play that time by Gamby to keep the play deep in the Gulf Coast zone.
Yeah, Florida's got to be really, really tough here on the puck. No mistakes here.
Here it comes up over the line. Gulf Coast will look to set it up. With the puck is Veralt. Veralt skates it around behind the goal. Playing it out on the point is Nappy. Nappy plays it now over on the left side, back out on top. Going to be played now by Cohen. Cohen over on the right side. There's one loose at the doorstep, kicked away wide. It's going to be good play to hold it in that time by Veralt. Veralt now up on top over to Cohen. And it's going to be hopping up over his stick out to center ice. And Gulf Coast will regroup with it. 50 seconds left with the man advantage. 3:52 to go here in regulation time. Good feed coming up over the line. Drop pass over in the far corner. On top with it is Philbin. Ooh, a good play to hold it in. Philbin gets it right back on the right face-off circle. Right on in front with a shot. It's still loose right at the doorstep. Finally kicked away. Over in the corner, held in at the point. Gulf Coast trying to make it a 3-3 tie. They come in behind the goal, trying to set up the power play. 23 seconds left. There's one at the doorstep. Mad scramble, and it's deflected over on the right side. They're going to play it out on top. Gulf Coast with it, and Fordham with a good play to clear it the length of the ice. Skating after it is Diaz with a purpose because he had, it looked like O'Malley on his tail.
Yeah, a couple really nice chances there for Florida Gulf Coast, but we might get No, we're not going to get another call. Thought maybe there's going to be another trip there. Got to be careful with your stick in this situation. Just 3 minutes now left in this game. Fordham's got to hang on with everything they can.
Ooh, there's a shot in traffic, deflected wide. Going to be played over on the right side. Puck held in by Gulf Coast. Now instead it's going to be flipped all the way down the ice, and I believe we're going to get an icing call. Indeed we are. Wow, Ryan, 2:43 left in regulation time. This has been one heck of a game to start it off for these two teams. 35-34 shots on goal. The difference, a Marcus Mazur goal to make it 3-2 in favor of Fordham.
Yeah, a long shift here for the Rams. I wouldn't be surprised if I mean, and I guess he's not going to, but if I was Fordham, I would maybe think about taking a timeout here just to give this penalty kill the guys that were out there a rest. But maybe that's why I'm not the coach, because they can break it out on their own.
Here comes Burke over the line. He plays it over on the right side. Puck deflected over now on this side, and coming up with it, Gulf Coast. Good play to cross-ice pass. Coming up with it is Cross. Cross tries to kick it. He gets it up over the line, but Fordham right there again. Nice defense to meet him right over on the right face-off circle. They bring it into the Gulf Coast zone. 2:15 to go here in regulation time. 3-2 Fordham. Here's a giveaway, almost a giveaway, and it's going to be deflected. And whoa, heads up over in the far corner. And out of play, 2:09 to go here in this third period. 3-2, Fordham hanging on.
Yeah, puck goes up and over the safety netting. And I don't know if you can catch this on the broadcast, but you can see a lot of these teams have gathered around these end boards here to catch the end of this one. Seems to have attracted the attention of the entire arena.
Off the face-off, they play it at center ice. They're going to throw it around the boards. It's going to be deflected in behind the goal.
It's like a funny bounce sitting on the back of the netting there.
Boy, it sure did. Puck played out the center ice. Here comes Florida Gulf Coast with it. Hartman brings it up over the line, skates down over on the left side, in behind the goal. Wraparound try deflected. It's loose out in the slot area. Hopped over the stick. Beautiful play. You called it 1,000%. Gulf Coast now. They'll backtrack with it. We'll keep an eye on Kirch over on the right, to our right, with 1:35 to go in regulation time. 3-2 our score. Puck goes all the way down into the Gulf Coast end, where it's going to be played by the defenseman number 25, Diaz.
There goes Kirch for the extra
Kirch
skater.
is going out right now. It's going to be 6-on-5, and we're going to get a penalty call coming up, I believe.
We're gonna get a 6-on-4 now.
Oh boy!
Kirch in the bench offensive zone draw. I mean, Florida Gulf Coast, you got to take your time out here and draw something up, I would assume. Yeah, they're going to.
Good call.
Smart
Good call.
Smart play here. You have to draw something up on the face-off if you're going to go 6-on-4. So right now, Fordham, the interesting about this, right? So now there's the two-man advantage, but because of that, Fordham can now freely ice the puck and take shots from 200 feet at the empty net. So that adds a little caveat to the 6-on-4. When rather a 6-on-5, you typically have to at least gain the red line before dumping it in. So we'll see if Florida Gulf Coast has a hero in them.
Well, let's set this up right now. After 40 minutes of play, both teams were tied at 1. Gulf Coast had the decided shot at goal advantage. Florida Gulf Coast at 3:45. Mason Lundquist on a beautiful shot. Sniped one to make it 2-1 in favor of Gulf Coast. But then Connor Burke, like you said, if you can do it, I can do it better. 3 minutes later, tied it up. And then Marcus Mazur at 13:05 has stunned this Florida Gulf Coast crowd as we've got a 3-2 hockey game in favor of Fordham. But now, as you mentioned, a 6-on-4. The penalty will be for the remainder of regulation unless there is a power play goal. So here we go, 35-34 shots on goal in favor of Fordham, as it's going to be a face-off down to the right of Spanenberg.
Yeah, and if you're the Eagles, you're looking for a quick shot off the draw. So if you win the draw, you want it to go back to your defense. You want to send at least 2 guys to the front of the net to screen and clean up on a rebound. If you lose that draw, that forward that's on the strong side right now in the slot, he needs to be sprinting to that other side. That D-man needs to be sprinting to the other side, but they win the draw.
Here we go.
They draw up.
Here we go now. 1:14 left on in the period. 6-on-4. The net is empty to our right. With it out on top with it is Veralt. Veralt plays it over on the far side, back out on top. He fakes like he's going to wind up. Now plays it over to the left side to Cohen. They throw one towards the net. It's loose right at the doorstep. They try to stuff it away. Still loose, and it's going to be cleared the length of the ice. But a great point by you, Ryan, that there is no icing because they're playing with a man advantage. Now 2 men with the pulled goalie. Now the goalie comes back out, so they're going to get the extra attacker back out. We're down under 45 seconds left. Puck played down in the far end. They're going to wrap it around, and it's going to be played down there in the far corner. They chop away at it with 35 seconds left, and the puck's going to be cleared the length of the ice. A huge play by Fordham. 30 seconds left. Going after the puck is Diaz. He's going to wheel it and deal it. Drop pass. Hand it off to Veralt. Veralt now with a cross-ice pass. A little give and go over there to Horvath. Horvath skates down the left side, trying to come in behind goal. Centering play. It's loose. High up in the air. It's a mad scramble. They try to come up with it with 11 seconds left. And it's going to be cleared the length of the ice. And I believe that's going to do it for Fordham. 3 seconds left. And what a big game. We got ourselves our first upset of the tournament. Fordham with 2 unanswered goals in the third period. A 3-2 victory over Florida Gulf Coast.
Wow, what a great play, or what a great job by the Rams, playing a full 60 minutes, getting the first upset of the tournament. You can see that Florida Gulf Coast team is just absolutely gassed at the other end. I guess I didn't catch it when they rolled back out there, but why did Coach Philbin put Kirch back in the net?
I don't know.
I didn't notice it.
I didn't either.
I noticed that he called for one of the players to come off, and clearly that was because they put Kirch back in. There's no reason to. You already pulled him. You took your time out. That makes no sense to me why you wouldn't want one more player in on that offensive zone draw. But nonetheless, enough with that. All credit to Fordham. A fantastic victory, Mazar, with the game winner. I think my first star of the game has to be the goalie.
Yes.
So I'm blanking on the name.
Spanenberg. Joe Spanenberg.
Joe Spanenberg played absolutely outstanding hockey today. He came up with all the big saves that he needed to. Once again, the 2 blemishes, I think you could just throw that away because when they needed it, he really stood on his head for the Rams. Fantastic win. Well,
Jonesy, for our first game that we've done together, man, we have set the bar awful darn high, haven't we?
I would say so. That was a great game.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll go over the scoring real quick, and then we'll sign off here. Again, it was Kyle Horvath at 4:16 in the opening period, and then Austin O'Malley at 11:49 on the power play. After 20 minutes, it was 1-1. Then the third period, Mason Lundquist put Gulf Coast ahead 2-1 at 3:45. Connor Burke with the equalizer 3 minutes later to make it 2-2. And then at 13:05, the game winner, Marcus Mazur, gave Fordham a 3-2 lead. They hung on with some great goaltending, as Ryan mentioned. 35-34 shots on goal in favor of Fordham in the end. Our final score, Fordham 3, Florida Gulf Coast 2. Fordham goes 1-0 on pool play as they head into day 2 tomorrow. Well, for Ryan Jones, this is Lou Gamlin saying, hey, keep your heads up, keep those sticks down, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the ACHA Broadcast Network.